Testing audio. Okay. So, we are back at work on the Red Rally. I have been riding this pretty regularly for the past 3 weeks, and it's been doing great. I feel like there is a little bit of friction in there somewhere. Some of that is probably the chain. I did a wax job on it that I messed up in like 3 ways, but I learned a lot. And it seems to be doing okay. I took the rear wheel off, we got the cassette removed off there, and the hub on the rear wheel is also just like beautiful, so that doesn't need any work on it. Today I'm gonna check in. Actually, what? I've got it all on my splits right there. What am I doing? Rear cassette greasing, adjust handlebars, accessory adjustments, bottom bracket check chain length, rear brake pads, and then doing a little work, turning my wife's bike into a balance bike for the time being. So a balance bike is a really good tool for learning how to bike. We're going to do that to help her learn. All right, first up, we're going to do a little rear cassette greasing. I got Sumo going on in the background. Very good Dasha. And my gloves aren't here. Much better. So, this guy is looking better than I thought. The main problems I've been having with this bike is it is unhappy shifting from 3rd to 4th gear. I was hoping that when I got this off, I would see a clear reason for why, but I don't. It also seems to be doing better with it though, as I've been riding. So I'm going to check the chain line. Make sure that is still working. There we go. So all I'm going to do to grease this up, I have been absolutely loving liquid wrench recently. I don't know I'm going to recommend it to everyone because it feels like one of those things where there's some reason everyone else doesn't do this that I don't know. But so far I haven't been able to find it. I discovered this when I was trying to remove the pedals on my bike. They were atrocious. So it's so much nicer already. But the pedals were terrible. So I was putting liquid wrench on the bolt in order to remove it and put on a better set. was using liquid wrench on the little bolt spot just to try to get them off. And then after I got them off, I discovered that they were perfect. They were extremely smooth to use. And I couldn't figure out what went wrong. How did they... I could have sworn they just felt terrible. How are they like spinning beautifully? And I realized it's because the liquid wrench... No, you can't come on this table right now. You can watch from over there. But the liquid wrench had worked its way down into the bearings. And it looks like I greased the wrong part there. And that little bit working its way into the bearings had completely freed them up and had them working beautifully. They were better than the new set. Well, new. I don't really use any new parts. But they were better than the set I was going to replace them with. And that was just the liquid wrench getting in there. So I've played around with that a little bit. Did a bit more deliberately. What I'm doing right now is actually flooding this a little bit extra. There's some coming out. Because it seems to be really good at also helping get the debris out. But, so I did this on the pedals. And while I was down at the shop recently, I asked if that was something crazy, if it was like WD-40, where it seems like it's working, but really you're actually doing a bunch of damage. If you didn't know, WD-40 is not lube. WD-40 is cleaning. It like helps get rid of old built-up grease, but it is not fresh grease itself. You can't come any closer on that table. You can sit on that corner, and that is all. No. You can stay right there. That's it. 3 guesses of what's going on off camera. That is so nice. Okay. But yeah, you can see a little more right there. I'm gonna just keep going a little. This stuff is not very expensive, and a little bit goes a long way. And it protects against rust. It frees rusted parts. It's a great lube on stuff. Like, so you might grab a bulk bottle and refill this little one because I'm loving that stuff so far. Look at all that garbage. As much as I'm loving how clean it's getting, I don't want to actually use like that much of it for it. That's probably really only a few drops. God, this stuff is so light. I keep picking it up thinking it's almost empty, and I have used 10% of the bottle. But this is right up there with Simple Green, where it has quickly become one of my favorite things. And I will always be keeping this on hand for my little mechanical work. Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. Okay. We're gonna do other stuff. I'm gonna count that as rear cassette greasing. Do some handlebar work and accessory adjustments. Alright, so I actually have a little, what would it be called? Well, it's a Pi Zero that I've built up and programmed with some MicroPython in order to be able to hit my splits button while I'm out here working on this. It's just like a little, it's a homemade stream deck. I just have to go in. I've got like 20 some little spots that I have to solder. And the box for it's going to be way bigger than I want. But it's not the worst. Alright. As a reminder, the way you do handlebars. Boy, that's washed out. Can we fix that? There. Oh, beautiful. This guy right here. This is what we do. Ooh, 13 is just... I swear, the bolts on this bike, like, expanded. Like right there, it can even... So this is the 11 mil. It can go on halfway. It is like the slightest bit too small. And then the 12 is a full millimeter off. This is cool. This is something I realized I can't adjust it because I'm using my phone right now. This is a endoscope, a USB-C endoscope, I think. Got like a rigid line with a camera on it. And I use it as a rear view camera. So like 20 bucks on Amazon. It's not anyone's favorite place to support, but you can find one somewhere else, like the local geek center, like Micro Center's sick. I like Micro Center a lot. Micro Center might have them. But yeah, just the biggest problem is they actually tend to make them really long because people want to, use them as endoscopes. And on your bike, you only need like 3 meters is too much, or 3 feet. 1 meter feels like an awful lot. But that's about right with only like winding 1 or 2 spots. And then I just have it mounted. Runs along the seat post there. And runs up under the seat. Right here. So he needs to be adjusted around a little bit. But that's bendable. I use a pair of zip ties to keep it centered. Jank? Yes. But it is a $20 camera that is recording capable. There you go, all done. For a second, so the way the bolt up here works, you loosen it up a little bit, and then you hammer it, and there's a little wedge in there that pushes down, and when it unwedges, that's when you can pull this out. You do not want to... oh, it's going to summon a baby. You love the Velcros. You don't want to throw this all the way out. If you throw this all the way out, you're going to drop the bottom wedge and you're going to have a bad. There we go. That should be it. I'm going to try a little bit more. Just because I could go for a little looser to adjust it. I'm going to try to pull them up. It is just so much more comfortable almost to have them in the position where they're a little bit up between my 2 hand positions down here and up here. I do love a bike that's too tall for me. I am feeling that a little bit much in this one. I think on the seat post they hadn't decided to mark the minimum length on stuff yet. That's a little bit of a problem. I think I've worked on enough bikes to know it's pretty much just like more than you think. You need to have more in there than you think you do. Would not recommend going Just like choosing your own point if your bike doesn't say it. Oh, and that brake's being a little unhappy with my choices. That's fine. I think I can go about here. There's at least this much, and I think there seems to be even more. I'm gonna go about here. There's still plenty. There's still plenty in there. All right. There we go. That's gonna give me just like another inch or so more. Actually, this might end up being my deciding factor. I need that brake to be happy. Now, honestly, I could, if I pull it tighter, it's just gonna start pulling on the wraps, which is really not the worst thing. Not like it's good. All right. See a lot, or I saw some conversations recently whining about how bike manufacturers can't agree on a way to get handlebar lineups perfectly straight. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's not the slightest bit hard. You put the wheel between your legs and you point it forward. That's the problem here, guys. But, I mean, both those comments. This is why I build bikes for myself. This gets annoying when you go professional. Seems pretty straight, and if it doesn't feel straight once I get it out on the road, I'll adjust it. That'll do. That'll do. So now, I don't feel like going to hit my splits. This guy's been shifting more than I would like. The problem is, so when you have your phone in here, the center of gravity on it is a good deal higher up than you think. And in order for it to not like get in the way back here, the center of the phone is also further up like this. So all of that means that any bump you hit makes this want to readjust. So it needs to be on here very tightly. Now there's all sorts of stuff you can use for this. I think the shop I mostly learned at, they would keep aluminum from beer cans. They would cut strips of it, and you can wrap that around there. And then it's aluminum on aluminum. Like, it's pretty happy on itself. But they would use that to splint stuff like this, or in here especially. There you really need sturdy. Metal on metal is really ideal. I kind of like attaching these over the top of handlebar ramps in the first place. It just clamps in so nicely. So I'm gonna try that. Got one layer. Shift a few things back around. I think that'll do. So this right here, this middle bit, that is a splint too. It's the one it came with. There might be a thicker one that exists somewhere in my house. Actually, this isn't centered on there. This tape is considerably thicker near its middle. Make sure I keep this positioned so the center is in the center. I think we're threading. Yep, we're threading. And that's the thing, like, I can already feel it starting to get tight. Like this, it really wants to tip so bad. I also don't want this quite coming into contact with the metal though. I'd rather have them not bumping into each other and things bump. I'm gonna be careful too, because this is just plastic. I do worry about over-tightening it. I do have some space. Problem I've had with a few screws and bolts recently. I remember learning a while back that they have torque-limited screw or wrenches for everything on ISS. Well, I imagine most professional places do. Because you can just crank the top of a bolt off. So easy. Harder with the screwdriver. Manage it, but it needs to be shitty metal too. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Making it tightened as it lives. Bottom bracket check. Oh, I never started. I really don't think this bottom bracket needs work. I think whoever... The thing is, when I got that other green one, every bearing on this was unusable. So whoever went in and did the front and rear hubs, they made this bike actually rideable, and both those have been really good work. This... Yeah, just the lightness I have to touch it with to move anything. There's no wobble. It's not like it was originally. So I feel like they had to have done this too. Really want to get in there though anyway. I don't know. Every single one I've gotten down to the rear wheel. I get down to the bolts. And that's really it's just fine. Like, there's no reason to mess with it. I'll give it another year of hard riding. Check those again and see. And I can feel a pretty decent amount from out here. I know this can be deceiving. If there's anywhere on a bike that people probably miss friction, they underappreciate it, it's right here. That amount of leverage. You got crazy leverage on the wheel too. But for some reason, something about the wheel, I'll just have like a better intuitive understanding. And this is what I meant on how smooth these pedals are now. Wobbly as hell. I'd really like to get in there and tighten up those bearings. But It is insanely smooth. They're really nice. I think I have the same ones from the... Actually, no, the green one had terrible pedals. And freaking spikes on them for some reason. Okay. So I think we are actually going to skip the bottom bracket check. It really seems good. Now, I'd rather start the rear brake pads before I put the rear wheel on. And I need to put the rear wheel on to check the chain. I do want to figure out how to adjust this guy. This thing sucks. I've never seen this style before. They never made this style again because it was so terrible. But I don't use the front. I really don't like this outer metal piece too. I worry about it. I want to put like a little rubber something along the edge of it. I feel like you crash and that is like pushing into your leg with force. It's just not good. Could probably pick up another outer 3-piece pretty easy. I'm happy with it for right now. The place I ride is so absurdly safe that like I'm not riding without a helmet because of other cyclists. Oh, and pedestrians too. You never know what a pedestrian's gonna do. But like I don't have to worry about cars in there. Yeah. So I'm gonna check, see what I can do about swapping that out. I love this keeping your pant legs from brushing up against the chain constantly, or your leg. Like without this, I'm always getting those black marks on my leg. Yeah, I feel like even just putting a little bit of tape or something around the outer edge of that would do a surprising amount. Ideally, some little like thin piece of plastic or rubber. There's a decent amount of space to the ring, so I think it can be done. Yeah. All right, I like that plan the most. I'll keep this because I do like it for its other featureness. So we're gonna do rear brake pads. Lovely. Sorry. I really should just pause it every time I move it. There we go. I think these are a 10. Ratcheting wrench is one of my best purchases. These really don't look that old, but they feel it. It's just completely dry, hard plastic. I feel like the front ones, whoever rode this, only used the front ones. Because the front ones, well, and you know, oh, he's bears. I had to go out of my way to keep these a little bit loose last time I was back here, because the right brakes felt so rigid. I think a lot of that's actually in the lever action. Let's try this again. There we go. All right. Is that right? That's right. I mean, this is the old one. This is the new one. I wonder if they replaced this too, and they never used the rear brake, so the surface of it did just kind of dry and die out, because the front one has been consistently been used and stayed a younger rubber. Thought about just sanding down those other two. I guess I still could. I don't have to go straight in the trash. See how much the texture on them improves. Chiyomaru! Sumo. Big sumo guy. Some of the Rikishi, the wrestlers, have like full on, their names are much more words. Chiyomaru means eternally round. And boy is he. Just cleaning this up a little bit. And I think that liquid wrench will do a nice job too of keeping these from binding up. Normally anytime I put this on, as those shops would tell me to put a little bit of bearing grease in there so they don't get locked up. Getting this off is the main place that I bleed myself when working on a bike. And huge wrench cranking on this right next to the spokes, and when it finally gives, your hand goes flying and your knuckles bash directly into the spokes. And even though it's blunt metal, it hits it hard enough to break some skin. This bike, when I got this one off, I did not bleed myself. I might have a bit of a bruise coming from it, but I did bash the back of my hand really good, but no blood. These guys just screw on. biggest problem is. Oh, it's gonna be really annoying actually. Lay flat. Hold on. Don't have the tool sitting next to me to bump. Crank this off a little bit. So the problem is when you turn left to loosen, just look at that. That's a beautiful freewheel. Anyway, you can't turn that back without a special nut that goes on top of it. I'm gonna do some more stuff you should not do. Get loose. Just need something a little sharp. Come on. Well, the only reason I'm trying any of this stuff you obviously should not do, because this is barely threaded at all. There we go. Yeah, so that was like not threaded. If you're going from like the way this is normally tightened down onto your, there we go. I'm just looking down, you can see it's starting, okay, and it's going smooth. But your whole drive chain pulls this tight. Every time you throw your weight on your pedal, all of that force goes right here, pulling it tight. You cannot get this off. And that's, yeah, so you get a big old nut on here, a wrench out here by the edge of the wheel. That's the longest wrench in the shop. And you crank it down and crank it away. And yeah, so you're generally kind of pulling back this way on the other side. Anyway. That is the smoothest freewheel I've ever seen in my life. I'm a massive liquid wrench proponent. Oh, those frames per second look beautiful. How does it look for you guys? Hold on. It gets the forward, backward, like visual illusions. And it's like, it looks like they're rotating separate from each other. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, ow, crap, not that way. Beautiful. All right. Oh, that reminds me, I should hit my splits. I'm speedrunning. Get this rear wheel back coming. a lot of times it's a pain getting these wheels on and off because they struggle getting through the brake pads. Oh. Well, I took the quick release off on this because when I was hauling the wheel down to the shop, it was interfering with my bungee cord attachment plan. So I had this kind of sitting on top of the cargo rack sideways. I was skeptical. I was very skeptical. But the bike did it just fine. And the only problem I had was that this lever on the outside of the quick release wanted to touch the top of the wheel on the other bike. It was dangling down. I couldn't flip it over because I need the cassette face up. Got all the things someone should fix on a bike. Is a quick release. That doesn't need to be so exactly calibrated. Like, I'd rather just crank the shit down with a wrench than sit here and fiddle with this. It's annoying as shit. And if someone wants to steal the tire, they need a, what you call it, a wrench. But it's really common on good bike locks to have an extra chain that loops through your rear wheel. Awful lot of your hardware is right there. Okay. Oh right, I do have my jank third hand. Bought a clamp that's just made for wood. I've been using that to hold everything tight. There we go. One of the trickiest parts of cantilevers, because when you want to tighten it that last bit, it wants to turn in the direction you're tightening. And wiggle these up and down until they're lined up with the metal. You never want your brake pad to touch the actual tire. I guess that one. But yeah, very bad touching your tire, and if it gets too crooked, it wants to touch the tire. No, that's not a good way to fix this. Okay. Feel the left one is higher. Now I'm shifting the bike around down here to try to get the brake cable a little more free. Okay. Just every little bit. Can you guys just stare at my feet that whole time? Probably. Right back. Love the brakes. Hate the brake pads. My thumb should be stronger than that. That seems nice though. Do my little fine adjuster up here. Crank it down a little more. A little bit of the slack out of this. Now, let's see. What? How? How did? This is another downside of these outer guardrails. I think that happened when I was trying to run my pedals backwards with force on the line back here. No, not good. Okay. So this is the longest my chain is going to be. What is the shortest? Yeah, that's slack. Okay. So I think if I look down here, you can see a little bit. The chain right now has slack in it. So this is the smallest this chain can need to be. And the smallest ring here and the smaller ring up here. Very weird gear I would never use, so it really doesn't matter. But I think this might be part of why my 3/4 is having a hard time. And this is the point when there's the most work for this guy to do. I need him to be engaged, so he has a little bit of tension. It looks like it's about 3. Pull 3 out, and it's there. Now, I want to see how that would feel. Hello? There we go. Piece of shit. Okay. I take 3 out on the longest it needs to be. Biggest up here, biggest back here. He's gonna be tight. He's really pushing it there. And that's the gear I actually use. And that really feels like I can pull about like 1 out of there before it's a little silly. I guess it can go quite far. Really, like 1 is pushing it. I'm gonna take 1 off. See how it feels. Well, actually, as I'm thinking more too, this is the point when it's like most fully engaged. I feel like if it were gonna have problems shifting, I'll loosen it down here. You know, it feels like it has been doing better here. Yeah, good. No, that was just me getting away from it. That one, these are error. 4, 3, 4. I feel like I have been able to do it more consistently recently. And there, okay, no, that time it went to 5. It's in finish. And the thing that's weird too, it did this before I shifted to the new derailleur. It was worse before. That one I couldn't get it to go to that 4th ring at all. That's why I was really hoping there would be some kind of gunk in there. What the hell was that? What are you touching? Okay. Yeah, I need to readjust my rear brake. Actually, you know what? I just pulled some tension out of there too. So we'll see. Alright, that's fine. I knew I was going to have to readjust that. Now, for the chain. I could pull one out. This is a gear I actually use. So, the big thing I'm debating here. Do I adjust this in a way that would help when this is in a gear I don't use? Or do I keep it somewhere that is ideal for the gears I do use? Which is just kind of front one and then all. Front one in that little guy is like an awesome ratio. Love it. Little guy in this just feels silly. And I don't think removing one would help with my 3-4 problem. I really have no idea what's causing that. It's all clean through there. It's a new derailleur. I don't know how the problem manages to exist on 2 different derailleurs. That's its own mystery. I think that stays. Now, there is a problem where this bike struggles to shift back up. Yeah, so if there is any overshot, it chucks it in next to this thing, which is real bad. You really do not want that happening. When that happens and you throw all your weight on your chain while it's stuck in there, it gets real stuck. There we go. Alright. Really wailing on this thing, and it is still pretty far over. really just barely. Alright. I think it seemed like loosening it. Any more play? Yep, there we go. And that immediately overshot. Oh, God. Honestly, I'm gonna play it really safe. I want this thing to vary. How could it be that sensitive? How could it be that sensitive? Oh, so it's not that sensitive. I don't really understand it. Okay, you know what, screw it. I just twisted a ton in. That was going clockwise, tightening it up. And that barely makes it on. Does this screw do anything? I think the jumping over is more a matter of bad luck than anything else. It is pushing as hard as I can. It is not close to touching right now. It is not close. When I'm no longer pulling down on that thing, it really pulled it back over. What is this stupid position? Alright, so right now, I've shifted my approach. I'm trying to find where it rests. After I kind of like pull down hard, pull it all the way out, and let it rest to reset itself, and it is definitely closer to the chain now. So this is something I've noticed a little bit before too. Is that sometimes it will be, I really gotta like wail on that thing to move it out of position so it's not rubbing. I think it's moving back. It's just very springy. Like that amount of movement after I let go of it. Alright, you know what? Here's a piece of shit. I have it at one. Now, main thing I had to check for on these was that it pulls from the right side. I realized after I got back. This one Actually, you know what? That cable, it can go behind here. I think I can run along the backside just fine. No problem. So it'll be over here. So it's well clear of the chain. It's well clear of the wheel. Got covering on it through there anyway. Although actually, when is your covering supposed to come off? Nah, I think this thing needs a... I think that's actually what kills it, is the covering. It's designed for a frame where there's a spot right down here where the cable housing can stop back on this side. Yeah. Now this has to be able to move relative to the chain housing. No, it won't work. Alright, so I thought I grabbed 2 spares of each derailleur in case one I got didn't work and it would seem I was wrong. So I don't actually have another one. So chopping list. Let's see. I guess I could just restring this one. I feel like half the problem is that this brake line is super spongy. Maybe. Something in here is way too spongy. Like, the brake line up top does not feel like it's moving at all. Like, I can feel tension being put on it, but it's not moving. Actually, this part isn't supposed to move. God, this is weird. Actually, It feels less spongy on that side. This is one of the silliest derailleur adjustments I've ever had to make. I think I just have to pull down hard on that at the beginning. It's nothing. It just sucks. I'm gonna grab another one of those. I think I'm gonna hold off on doing that until I have to redo the wax on this chain. I don't think changing the chain size is actually going to be worth it. I'm gonna leave that alone. I think these rear brake pads, they were rubbing for a minute when I was doing my test. But I'd also adjusted my little nut up here to loosen that up, or to pull some of the slack out. So I gotta tighten it up. Pull a little bit of the slack out of the brake line. So those would rest closer to it. And when I undid that, it's happy again. And they're not too far. They're like 2 millimeters off. I think it's pretty ideal. Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw some more air in here. Get this thing ready to ride again or work tomorrow. Then I'm gonna work on converting another bike to the belt. I have been debating also swapping the direction of part of my seat post around. Bring the seat a little closer to the handlebars up front. Now, I feel like it's one of those things that you're really not supposed to do. They're supposed to be installed in one direction. So the post is forward from the pivot point. I think I have moved them around on bikes before to get the vertical distance, or like the horizontal stretch on them a little more comfortable. I don't think you should. So need to remember to pause and move that. You can take all of this off and spin this around so that the bolts are up front. When you do that, it lets you move all of this a little farther forward. Now, right now, with this all the way back, I really sit very directly on top of the seat post, which I think is good. Sumo. Another round man that I enjoy. Let me see. So if I switch this around though, so that this is out front, that means having the seat all the way forward like this, it'll be like an inch or so forward. And I think the weight is more like right here. Which seems like it should still be good. And still the pivot point's right there too. That almost feels more stable for having that there. Like if I took this and pushed this all the way back, the weight would be more like here. And that feels farther from my attachment point right there. Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know if it's like a good best practice, but I think for the actual weight distribution in this guy, I'm not going to be putting like any kind of weird leverage on it, I don't think. It's funny, I actually had problems with this bike losing its like seat angle adjustment when I got it. So I'd hit a bump and it would like readjust my seat if I was sitting on it, which gets really old really quick. Well, no, it's just not supposed to do that, right? So I dug around and let me get this camera out of here. We'll rewire you in a minute. All right. Excuse me. But yeah, so that was one of the things I needed to change on this. I was having seat problems, so went in to try to switch stuff around, and I'd originally wanted to change the whole seat post because that seat post was set up where you couldn't change the direction this was. It wouldn't let you like angle it. And I think right now I want to move it so this is back. No. Yes. Right there, it's further forward. Right there would push it back, yeah. I don't think that leverage is bad. I don't know how far forward I sit, but this is like it's a quite skinny. It's a relatively skinny saddle. So I think I sit pretty far back on it. But on here, there are these like serrated bits, these teeth. And the old attachment points, those were completely flat. They were just gone. They'd been completely smushed into each other by something or other. Yeah, not necessarily something I recommend doing. I think I'm going to do it anyway. Because the thing is, you don't want your leverage to be too far from your seat post, because that's going to let it, if you hit a bump while your weight's on the saddle, it could start to knock it out of position. So that's the thing too. I know what the symptoms are going to be of this being a problem, so I am going to watch for those. If I can feel that my seat is going out of whack, then I'll just switch this back. Worst case scenario, this attachment point gets jacked up. And these right in here, again, they get flat like when I got this. This is an easy to replace part, so should be fine. But if it's not fine, I know what it will look like for it to not be fine. And I have a plan. Not the 12. I'm going to reattach my camera through here later, because the way these work, it's a USB-C endoscope. So this right here is a camera. Just plugs into the USB-C on my phone, and I use it as a rear view camera. But yeah, super easy, but I need to use like my phone and the app to get it working. That's the screen for it. And I'm currently using it. So, I'm doing that. I'll putting that back there. Let me check my notes. America said is beautiful. Handlebars are a little higher. The phone holder has another splint in it to help it out, and it has some extra space to tighten down. I need to change the camera, but that's happening after stream. Check the chain length, and I think it would mess with the one gears I actually use to make it shorter. So I'm actually just going to kind of sacrifice a gear or two in the middle there. The absolute smallest gears, which I don't... I would just never shift between those two. Yeah, they're fine. Rear brake pads are on and look pretty good. I'll have to wait and see how they feel on the road. The front derailleur is doing okay. I think it is doing as good as it can. The adjustment on it just seems to do nothing because it's so springy. I don't know what the hell that derailleur is. And the one I got doesn't work, so I need a different one to replace it that pulls and has a stop for the casing on the left-hand side. Okay, all right, let's swap bikes. I'm gonna go get my partner's bike, and I'm gonna be working on turning that into a balance bike for a little bit. A balance bike is a really useful tool for, like, especially for kids, but really just for anyone learning to ride a bike, where you pretty much take the pedals off and keep the seat low, and then you just pedal it back and you keep your feet on the ground. But I'm just gonna take the pedals off and keep the seat low. Let's start that up. Oh, put the cats away for this one. I don't want to really gotta wail on. I'm actually gonna go get the only thing I found that can keep this tight enough is a ratchet strap. Even another person struggles to just like hold all of this tight enough. Tighten. How did, I mean, I know I'm not like amazing with racket straps. How did it switch directions like halfway through? I have been periodically hitting this liquid wrench. It is on there. One of these is reverse threaded. The left side, non-drive side, is reverse threaded. The other thing that really sucks on these, they are not full bolts. I really don't like pulling towards this piece of metal right here. So one of the main reasons I'm doing this way. The leverage, when I try to push here, starts to push so far around that I can't actually I have a decent grip right now, but pulling it this way, the other option is just putting my knuckles way too close to this piece of metal. I do not want to be pulling toward that piece of metal. I would rather hammer a wrench at length. Which is not ideal, but it's also one of those things that, like, more just doesn't feel great, but there's not really an actual thing that's going to go wrong. Like, worst case scenario, your tool moves. And that's why I got the cat's way. So, I'm going to keep trying this a little bit. But it is impressively stuck. This is a very old bike. It is the heaviest bike of all of them we have. Yeah, let's hammer. I'm gonna try turning it around. I think when I did the bottom bracket, I think I took this whole thing out when I was doing the bottom bracket. I think I actually got the other side off at the shop with the extra long wrench. Why? What the hell was that? It rolled in my hand. It wasn't doing anything weird. It was tightening the bolt as intended. Oh. I think a muzzle fabric got pinched funny. Hold on. Oh. So the seat on this is already nice and low. That's already looking good for that. I think worst case scenario too, I might just kind of zip tie the pedals back. And that should do okay. Never noticed that ratchet straps are kind of. Honestly, it's not so much that it's right-handed as you can't. Like trying to. No, am I typing that? There we go. Dude, why can't I get this first set out? They're pickier about the direction they go. Seems like it should be. There we go. I feel like threading that thing 3 different directions incorrectly is an achievement. But yeah, it almost feels like there's like a right-handed, left-handedness to those. To ratchet straps, that is. Okay, and this one is going right. There we go. Instantly, yeah. I think I had this side off previously. Got that off with the big wrench. So, plan will be, he's just gonna come off. Tuck that away. This guy is gonna get zip tied back here, so that it's not moving around, and we can just keep our feet out to the sides. And that pedal will be a long ways back. Because with the balance bike too, your legs are kind of way out in front of you. Or much more in front. Okay. Sick. It's like getting this thing on and off of there is such a pain in the ass. I'm not even gonna use the stand. It's so much heavier. And then women's bikes. I think that's different. At least older women's bikes. It's just that this is low. The idea is you can your dress can go down there. It's a nicer way to actually mount and dismount a bike, but putting it up on a rack is so much worse. So you have to use this instead of this. Sucks carrying it upstairs, but you don't have to do gymnastics getting off it. Okay, zip this. Another option too, you could take the whole crank system off. Get this out of the way, but I just did this bottom bracket up recently, and it's so nice. I did such a good job on it. It's so smooth. And I really, as much as it is fun to do again, I don't really want to. And wow, that was so much easier than I thought I'd be doing that. So yeah, one zip tie. This felt like it should be tilted back a little bit more. I think she'd wanted it very forward. I think we're good. Yeah, that's gonna go back up on the wall. Red one, I need to test it out on the road. I need to use my phone to get the camera adjusted. The rear derailleur on that needs to get replaced still. The cassette is in much better shape. The rear brakes are in much better shape. I tried to fix that bottom and front derailleur, no luck. Went to look at the chain. That was, yeah, I think I'd rather just not have it on the shortest possible chain length. Like the gear combination, that is the most slack. I can just not use that. Because the gears I actually use, I think pulling more slack out will start to interfere with that performance. And I don't think it would help the problems it has right now. Got the accessories fixed, handlebars adjusted. That seat post, we'll wait and see. That might end up getting undone pretty quickly. That just takes a wrench though. I could literally do that at work. I could do it on my commute to work. Okay, so that's not a big deal. Anything else? There's still, I feel like there's friction in that thing somewhere. It does, it rides beautiful, but some of it's probably those tires. Those tires are made for like wet and snowy or icy roads. Really good grip, but you can hear them. Yeah. I could get a Normer slicker set, and then just like swamp them out for weather. But we are going to have wet and, well, it's already wet. We're going to have snow relatively soon. And it's really not bad to train up a little bit on my more difficult tires. Those brake levers do feel really stiff too. That rear brake just, It feels weird, like more work than it should be to pull the brakes. So I put a little liquid wrench in there last time. I might do that again. The rear derailleur, I honestly wouldn't mind cleaning it up more. Or just get some liquid wrench in there, but I'm worried about getting liquid wrench on the chain. It's got that weird ass wax on it now. But I think that could be... I want to swap out the front derailleur when I redo the chain. That would be a really good opportunity to get in there and do rear derailleur stuff too. Sick. But yeah, it's that bike is so well adjusted for me. And it's so nice being able to work on your own bikes and just go in and actually I want my handlebars to be an inch higher. I want to tweak around my seat post to be over this way instead. I think this part could use a little more grease in there to get in, because greasing your cassette is a lot more difficult than you think. Greasing that freewheel. Yeah. All right. I think that's it though. So, I don't know, anyone who comes through, anyone who watched. I don't know who's coming through and watching the bots, but thank you. Glad and hope you guys are enjoying. Yeah, feel free, if you ever have a question on any bike still, feel free to drop a message. Happy to take a look at things. All right, have a good one.